All right, we're going. My first Google Hangout on air. So welcome. I'm so excited about this. We are going to walk through your home healthier in 10 easy steps. We're going to talk about non-toxic stuff. We're going to talk about ways to just improve the quality of our home environment since we spend so much time there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I just wanted to say hi to everybody first before I dive into slides. I just wanted to thank you for being here. Wanted to thank you for registering. I have some fun things that I'm going to offer the people that registered. You guys are going to get. So I was just going to tell you, if you take notes throughout the webinar, that's awesome. I am going to give, there will be a PDF of Healthy Hints that goes out to everybody who registered, and also a buyer's guide with just some suggestions for products maybe I mentioned throughout the webinar in case you're curious. And before we get started, I wanted everyone to get a glimpse of the book that I'm going to be talking a lot about. I'm very, very grateful to both Dr. Wentz and Dave Wentz for writing this book, and I credit it for me being able to do this type of a webinar. The book is written by a father-son team, and Dr. Myron Wentz is a brilliant scientist. He's got a double PhD in microbiology and immunology. He knows his stuff. And his son is just a lay person like us, a non-scientist. And I'm really, really grateful that they wrote it together, because Dave Wentz allows all of the science to be easily read, easily and practically practiced. It's not overwhelming. So often books like this, you read and you get halfway through and there's so much you would need to change. It's daunting and we walk away from it. And they don't do that. It's not overwhelming. He keeps it very practical, very real. And I'm so grateful for the way he wrote it, because it allows me to turn around and give the information out tonight like I'm going to, and just as a practical, easy to use way as well. So anyhow, if you watch the webinar tonight and you really enjoy it and you want to dive in more, I highly suggest picking it up. Actually, 100% of the profits from the sales of those books go to charity. They're awesome, awesome guys. So without further ado, good evening, glad you're here. I am going to try my hand at this screen share thing and see if I can get my slides going for you guys. I'm going to do my entire screen. What is going on? Okay. I don't know if I can hear anybody. It would be great to hear if you can see this well, but okay. Regardless, here we go. We're going to dive in. A healthier home in 10 easy steps. I want to start just by addressing, like, why is this even relevant? Why non-toxic? Why in the home? We hear so much about toxicity in our work environments or in, and just our environmental impact, toxic environmental impact, air pollution or air quality, like outside environment toxicity. Often we don't hear about going non-toxic or talking. We don't talk about the environment in our homes this way. And yet that's where we spend a third of our days, all of our days. And the kicker is, I'm not a doom and gloom person. There's good news here. Okay. But what we as a society are getting sick and dying of these days are called degenerative diseases. And what that basically means, most of them are prevented by lifestyle, but what degenerative means is over time. It's all about a cumulative effect. So the vast majority of things that are making us sick or that are killing us today are a buildup of 30 years of smoking, or that's a a very simple, obvious example, but it's all about accumulation, and it's all about lifestyle accumulated over years, and toxic burden accumulated over years. And so our homes are a great place to start because we spend so much time there, like I said, which is why they wrote this book, thankfully. So I'm going to tell you a teeny bit about me before we get into the 10 steps. That's my gorgeous family, to whom I could not live without. I call myself a practical hippie, wellness enthusiast. I'm a runner, chicken raiser, mother, and wife. I realized today that I probably should have put Libra on here because it's very relevant. It's kind of the practical hippie thing. A Libra, if you don't know, the sign for Libra is the scales. And so we're all about balance, moderation, and that's kind of the name of my game. I'm actually also a funeral director's daughter, which I recently decided is absolutely relevant. I was a funeral director's daughter until I was 13 when my parents sold the business and changed course, but too young to be able to articulate why that is such a huge piece of why all this stuff is relevant and important to me, and I think deserves some of our attention. And I'm just getting to articulate and bring everything that those first 3 years of being a film director's daughter changed in me. I'm just bringing that to the surface, to my consciousness. Anyhow, in 2009, I also became a distributor for USANA Health Sciences. And I started learning all about cellular nutrition. And I started learning about how powerful, how big of a role our cellular integrity and our cellular health has in this degeneration game, this degenerative disease story. And then in 2011, 2 years later, is when I read The Healthy Home, and I was actually pregnant with my first child, Sophia, on the left. And I was building a house. My husband and I were building a house. And the really, really cool thing about the timing of when I read The Healthy Home was that, as you know, when you have your first child, especially, and when you build a house, you're making a lot of decisions, tons of purchases. And there were more things in the book that I was able to apply than you might be able to right now. You know, I decided at the time after reading the book to paint the entire interior of our house with 0 VOC paint. And that may not be where you're at right now. So the 10 things that we're going to talk about tonight, I think can really be done anytime, today, by anyone. So without further ado, inside versus outside air. In the opening, I mentioned, we hear about outside air a lot. Outside air pollution. And what we don't hear about is the air inside our homes. And the truth about the air inside our homes, air that came inside and then basically became concentrated mixture of all the stuff we use in our home, all the fumes, everything. It's all being recirculated, right? Through our air conditioning and heating systems, central air systems. So the first tip and the hugest thing that I took away from The Healthy Home that seems intuitive, but we forget sometimes to just open the windows as often as you can. It's essential, even if you live in a place where the outside air is maybe more polluted, it's still cleaner and better than the air inside your house, most likely, depending on, I live here in Texas. So I'll be honest, we had a cool couple of nights last week, and I opened up our windows for the first time in probably, 3 or 4 months. It's been hot here this summer. So I understand that that's not always possible, but any time you can, the best way to improve the environment in your home is to just open the windows and get the air moving. Tip number 1, easy peasy, right? Everyone can do that one. Okay. The most toxic room in your house is the bathroom. And there are a number of reasons for that. And we're going to touch on a couple of them tonight, probably the most significant ones. The tip that we already discussed about open the windows is ever so more important. I'm not even speaking English in the bathroom. We all have vent fans in the bathroom. I don't know how often people use them. I never did really until I read The Healthy Home. They're loud and kind of obnoxious. Unfortunately, somebody should alter the designs of bathroom vent fans, I think. But bonus points if you run your vent fan. Another really, really important place to open the windows. And if you can, avoid aerosol products. Aerosol hairspray is probably the most obvious there. And the reason why the air in your bathroom is even more toxic really than maybe some other rooms in your house is, if you think about it, steam, you run the shower, but all the things that we clean our bathroom with, all of the products, the perfume, the hairspray, our bathrooms are just full of products that end up in the air or end up in the, steam, or they're coming off in the water. It's just like a concentrated toxic mess in there sometimes. So open the fan, open the windows, run the vent fan. And that's all about why the air in your bathroom is so toxic. The other thing that's so toxic about our bathrooms are all of those personal products. Okay, so Dr. Wentz says in the book, if you aren't willing to eat something, you shouldn't put it on your skin. This sounds kind of dramatic, to be honest. I'm sure you all are sitting there picturing potentially all the things you put on your skin and wondering what thing you would eat that you could replace it with. But it's true. So everybody knows, right? We're taught in elementary or grade school, whatever, that the skin is our largest organ. And if you think about how a nicotine patch works, or a birth control patch, all of pain med patch, all of those things we put on our skin that deliver things straight into our blood system are no different than the lotion you put on after you shower, the night cream you put on your face after you wash it, all the things that we put on our skin and leave there. There's a statistic that I did not include in the slides because I didn't want to misquote it, but it's something like 60% of what you put on your skin is in your bloodstream within 20 seconds or something dramatic like that. It is kind of dramatic. So we're going to talk about personal care products a little bit, and I'm actually going to start, speaking of which, the biggest bang for your buck. So as we talk through this, as we talk about different things that you could maybe swap out, always, if you're feeling overwhelmed about this whole idea about personal care products, swap out the things that you leave on all day first or sleep in. Okay, so if your shampoo is really toxic, but you're putting it on your hair and washing it out, I'm not as concerned as the lotion that you're putting on after the shower that you're sleeping in. So don't get overwhelmed by this. Please try not to. It shouldn't be that way. So I'm just trying to, knowledge is power, right? So tip number 2 is actually switch to aluminum-free deodorant. And aluminum's a little tricky. I'm actually going to reference some stuff too from the book because his words are so powerful. So there are actually possible links being found between aluminum compounds and everything from breast cancer to kidney failure to Alzheimer's to Parkinson's disease. And unfortunately, aluminum's actually in a lot of stuff too. And it's awful. They're finding it in breast tissue. It's the thing about deodorant is, okay, so just a deodorant. If you go to the store, some will say deodorant, some will say antiperspirant and deodorant. If you go to the store and it just says deodorant, they don't usually have an aluminum compound in them then. That's more like alcohol and other chemicals that kill the bacteria, and then the burst of fragrance, chemical fragrance that is supposed to just cover up any odors by any bacteria that remain. So they don't usually contain aluminum products. A bunch of other stuff you probably don't want on your skin long-term anyways, but the trick is the antiperspirants are the ones that have those aluminum compounds in it. And unfortunately, a lot of us, I'm making an assumption here, obviously, but you get up in the morning, you shower, you put your deodorant on, you go to work, and you may not shower again until the next morning before work. And so our deodorant's on all the time. One of the bonus points he says is if you're not going to use an aluminum-free deodorant, just put deodorant on for when you really need it and wash it off when you get home or before you go to bed at night. I will say that I put this tip in there because I love, 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 love my homemade deodorant. It's not only aluminum free, it's preservative free. It smells and feels amazing. I just put a blog up on Tuesday, 7 reasons to make your own deodorant that you can check out if you're interested, because I include the recipe I use. And it's absolutely all stuff you could put in your mouth safely that you could eat. Coconut oil, baking soda, cornstarch, some essential oils, and it works. It really, really works. So anyhow, I put that one in there because the aluminum thing's a little scary. So even just going from an antiperspirant to a deodorant might be a good step. Going from a deodorant to just an aluminum-free deodorant that might be out on the market might be a good step. And going all the way to just making your own is so easy and cheap, and just a great way. And the thing I want to remind you that I really, really want to hit home tonight is that this is not about switching out your deodorant so that you'll be healthier in 2016. This is about aluminum sitting on your armpits all day, every day for the next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. That's what we're talking about. That's why I think this book is so powerful. These are easy things we can do that over the course of 30 years will make a huge impact on how much our bodies, how much toxicity our bodies are burdened with and have to deal with. Make huge impacts on our long-term health. So the other thing we're going to talk about tonight is toothpaste. Ever notice how children's toothpaste is all fluoride free? It's because they swallow so much. Fluoride isn't safe. In fact, in the book, he's got a screenshot of the warning that you can find on all toothpastes. Keep out of reach of children under 6 age. If more than used for brushing is accidentally swallowed, get medical help or contact a poison control center right away. Swallowing fluoride toothpaste can actually be fatal. Fluoride is not actually good for us. In fact, what he says, the best quote, oh gosh, I thought I had it in here. Let me find this, is that fluoride is basically a very intelligently repurposed waste. Fluoride is industrial waste that has been remarkably repackaged and effectively marketed over the years for topical products like toothpaste, as well as mass treatment of our water supplies. It's really not needed for healthy teeth. Most of what cleans our teeth is the brushing, the actual brushing. And it's actually just not necessary, and it's not good for you. And the other thing about putting stuff in our mouths like toothpaste where we're not swallowing it, but again, just like the nicotine patch, if you think about people who use dip and get nicotine through their gums, or medicine where you're supposed to put it under your tongue and let it dissolve straight into the bloodstream. Same kind of thing. It's just not necessary. The whole idea here is to just reduce our overall toxic burdens. So tip number 3 is use fluoride-free toothpaste to clean up our bathrooms. Okay. And then lastly, this is back to the personal products thing. So preservatives present a risk to the integrity of the skin. And he gets into so much of the science of this in the book, and I'm not going to attempt to recreate that for you tonight. But all of the skincare products out there, the lotions, the face creams, the cleansers, all of them have preservatives in them so that they don't go rancid, so that they can sit on the shelves at Target until you buy them. It's a good thing because it keeps bacteria, preservatives are meant to kill the bacteria in stuff and keep it from going rancid. It just also, those preservatives then we put on our skin and they get soaked in. And they go into our bloodstream, and not to mention all the other chemicals that go along with stuff that has preservatives in it. I say that this is an easy tip, I'll out myself right now because I actually know of a line that I'm going to recommend to you that is patented self-preserving, so totally free of parabens, formaldehyde, producing agents, platelets. I'm not even sure that that's how you pronounce it. The thing is, not all of these health concerns have caught up in the media or in marketing yet. Okay, so preservatives have. Every now you can walk in a Target and everything on the shelves says paraben free because people got smart to the word paraben. The thing is, it still has preservatives in it, some sort of preservative in it if it can sit on the shelf. We'll talk later a little bit about another concern of mine of things that's in products that hasn't quite gotten to the media, and so you can look for it a little bit easier. It makes shopping for those things. Again, just as a reminder, if you aren't willing to eat something, you shouldn't put it on your skin. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit to the kitchen. I'm going to take a big swig of water. We are not going to talk about food today. I intend on doing a webinar later this fall that'll address that part of reducing toxins through our diet. Today, all I'm going to talk to you about in the kitchen is water. So our bodies need lots and lots of water to perform all of the necessary processes that they do so well, including detoxification. And not only do we need to drink lots of water, okay, actually it's half your body weight in ounces to be exact every day. What concerns me even more than drinking a lot of water is the things we're drinking instead of water, like soda, lattes, sugary teas. They're not all bad. And like I said, I'm going to actually be addressing diet in a later upcoming webinar. But more than anything, this is a plea for you to swap to water or drink more water if you're not already. The other really important things about water intake, though, are not drinking out of plastic or leaving plastic water bottles in the heat in your car. In fact, one of the healthy hints that you'll be getting via email after the webinar just is a suggestion really in general in anything, in any way you can, whatever you see, to switch to glass instead of plastic in the kitchen. It's just safer. I drink out of stainless steel. That's actually a picture of my kids and I's stainless steel water bottles. We like clean canteens. And I love them because they come in little kid sizes with sippy cup tops or sport caps. And then mega bonus points is actually the quality of your water. Now, if you read in the book, he talks in great depth about all of this. And their suggestion is to drink more water and sacrifice the quality as opposed to holding out for quality water and not drinking enough. So the tip is just across the board, drink more water and drink lots of water. Bonus point, if you have some sort of water clarifier, purifier, we at my house have a reverse osmosis system. It's, I think, I don't want to speak in generalities, I guess, but I find it reasonable. It's an under-the-counter one. It comes with a tank. You have to buy filters every once in a while to replace them, but I think the whole system up front's maybe $200, and they last as long as you'll change those filters out and take care of them. And it's great. The water tastes delicious, and especially if, you know, when you think about it, again, this is accumulation over the course of 30 years. If we're drinking 8 glasses of water a day, the cleaner the better, because there's just such a large quantity of it going into our system, and our bodies just need it so, so badly. Okay, moving on. Once again, we're flying through these tips. We will absolutely have a Q&A at the end. I thought that I was set up in my Google Hangout on air to where you guys could ask questions. I don't see any coming through. Maybe I didn't set it up right, but I will absolutely switch off of the slides at the end and take some questions. We can dive into this. And like I said, you're going to get more resources in your email after the webinar. So living, the thing that we're going to touch about in our living spaces are germs. This is just in general in your house, and especially with young kiddos running around. This is so important to me. The germs in your house are your germs. In fact, Dr. Wentz says in the book, they're mostly, obviously familiar to you and therefore not a threat. And our culture is so obsessed with antibacterial gels and wipes and Clorox wipes and bleach and everything. And I don't at all blame you, because we're being told by the media that we need to kill all the germs so we don't get sick. The thing is, in our homes, like Dr. Wentz says, there are germs. You know, if you're out shopping and you're touching carts and you're doing whatever and you come home, sure, wash your hands, yes. But all of the things we're doing to our counters in the kitchen, let's say, and then we're preparing food on them, or our kids are touching them and then putting their fingers in their mouths, all of the chemicals in the cleaners, antibacterial cleaners we're using, do more harm than the germs potentially could, I think, especially over time. My kids, I will be the first to tell you, my kids put dirt in their mouths. I can't even, we live out in the country, we have chickens, and every once in a while, I do get concerned, but dirt is actually great for your immunity. Germs are great for your immunity, and they don't get sick because they're exposed to more than they would be if I was always sterilizing everything in the house. So I feel pretty strongly about this one. So the very first tip, as far as I'm concerned here, is just avoid use of antibacterial cleaners. Now, if it's flu season or you got someone sick, or, you know, and you don't want the rest of the family to get sick, like, there's obviously a time and a place for things, but in general, it's not necessary. Vinegar and water and a little essential oil in a spray bottle will do your counter as well, and is all you need most of the time, if not all the time. The other tip here is to switch to simple, non-toxic, biodegradable cleaners. There are actually more of them out there than you think. I know oftentimes, as just a woman living in this world, trying to keep my house up and trying to raise my kids and being on Pinterest or whatever, it's easy to get overwhelmed with the do-it-yourself. We have to make all this stuff up. In the hints I'm going to give you, the PDF I'm going to give you in the email, there are going to be some at-home household cleaners that you can just mix up. Excuse me. And they really are super inexpensive and very easy. They really are. This is not complicated, fancy. It's not glamorous. Your cleaners aren't going to be in pretty bottles, and the marketing's not going to be there, but it's amazing what you can do with vinegar, baking soda, water, lemon juice, lemon oil. Anyhow, I'm going to include some of that in there. I will also include in the buyer's guide some of the ones that I do buy when I'm not making it, because there are a decent amount out there. I'm actually completely obsessed right now with Castile soap. I got one of those big things of the Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, and I got the peppermint flavored one. And I'm telling you, already I use it on my floors. I use it on my counters. I use it for not the one with peppermint oil, but I use it for bubble bath. I mean, you literally can just use it for everything. It's ridiculous, and it's so easy on my dish, safe. So there are a lot of resources I can send you on these two, but they're huge. And just the knowledge that the germs in your house shouldn't be a huge source of fear, hopefully will just have an impact on your perspective, because I think that we are making our kids and our families more sick by protecting them too much from the germs in our house, and we're introducing all this other stuff that's not necessary, so that their little bodies are having to deal with. Okay, 6 and 7, 3 left. Is that it? That can't be. Bedroom. we're going to talk about sheets and PJs. Okay, so in the book, it's legit, right? We probably spend, even if you're not getting good sleep, you are probably in your bed for at least 6 hours a night. So a quarter of every day, you spend the whole time in your bed. Hugely important to choose natural fabrics. A bunch of reasons why. There's a lot of science he goes into, all the different plastics and petroleum and chemicals that go into just some of our manufactured fabrics like polyester and stuff nowadays. So there's a lot of that in the book if you want to read further, but the gist of it is, and especially in the bedroom, that actually I'm going to speak to kids' pajamas too. There are, for liability's sake, I assume, there's this odd condition, this odd thing that exists out there where we're making pajamas for kids and then we're spraying them with flame retardants. Basically, we're making them flame resistant. And if you ever, I bought a pair of organic cotton PJs for my daughter once, and there was this huge warning on the tag that said something like, warning, not flame resistant, not flame retardant, keep away from fire, blah, 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 blah. But the kind of cycle of all of this is that we're creating fabrics with man-made stuff that our skin is sitting on all day, all night. And then we are potentially, depending on what kind of a fabric it is or what it's being used in, we are coating it in things to make it safer for us. Kind of confusing. But anyhow, it's a big deal. We're spending way too many hours in bed for this to not be something we chat about. So I'm going to read this bottom quote first. The key material of concern for both types of mattresses, the ones that you most often find in the stores, memory foam and innerspring, is polyurethane foam, a product so flammable that the insurance industry calls it solid gasoline. Fire retardant chemicals, I can't get that to go away so I can read it, are applied to most mattresses to combat polyurethane's tendency to explode at the slightest spark. It sounds kind of dramatic, but here's the deal about mattresses. Like I said, when I read this book, we actually were in the market for a new mattress. So I will include my brand of choice that is also affordable. It's a natural latex. It's a spring, but it's a natural latex, and then it's wrapped in wool and organic cotton finished in it. But I was on the market for a mattress, so I was able to do this. Some other things that I've heard are bonus points if you just air your mattress out, or let's say you're in the market for a mattress and you don't buy something organic or natural, air it out. Just put it outside. Let all the fumes, let all the chemicals off gas outside before you put it in your bedroom and sleep on it. Hugely important. And so yeah, when I read this book, I was pregnant with my first child, and I made sure to buy cotton pajamas and organic sheets just because they spend so much time on their beds when they're that little, and cotton organic blankets because they're wrapped up and being held all the time. It's just about accumulation and the most time spent. So the bedroom's a good place to start. Just choose natural fabrics for your PJs and your sheets. That would be a huge start. Actually, one more thing I want to throw in. It says naturally flame resistant wool. Wool is actually magical, I found out, for the bedroom. Not only is it naturally flame resistant, it's actually a natural temperature regulator. So in the heat of the summer, it'll help you feel cooler. In the cold of the winter, it'll help you feel warmer. There are more and more. I actually also purchased a wool mattress pad, an organic or natural wool mattress pad. So you could think about something like that even if you're not replacing your mattress. Okay. The other thing about the bedroom is I'm going to harken back to the days where your mom told you not to stand in front of the microwave and stare at the popcorn popping. So there are these things called EMFs, and they also go into great detail on this in the book, but the idea is that anything that's plugged in, anything with electromagnetic fields, which includes cell phone signals, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff is in, or actually, excuse me, I pulled a quote for this because I actually want to say this exactly right. Give me just 2 seconds because it's right here. Okay. The human body is powered and regulated by extremely complex chemical and electromagnetic systems of its own. So electromagnetic fields can seriously disrupt the normal electromagnetic energies of the body. Now, obviously, it's not reasonable to take all the electronics out of our houses and maybe even out of our bedrooms. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you that right after I read this, I was a nursing mother with infants a couple of years apart. And I have baby monitors and my phone so I could be able to tell the time, and a lamp, and all of that on my nightstand. The one thing I will say that my husband and I do every night religiously since I read this book is we keep our phones by our beds, because he uses his for an alarm and I use mine so I know what time it is when I get up in the middle of the night. Not smart. I would recommend putting a clock on the other side of the room and not having your phone charging on your bedroom nightstand. But we do religiously put it in airplane mode so that it's not searching for the Wi-Fi signal or your phone signal. So that's one bonus point, is just in general for your home environment and where we spend most of our hours at home in the bedroom, but make sure your wireless router isn't like in your bedroom or your closet, or I don't know, in the kitchen maybe is the other place you spend a lot of your time. I don't know. You'll know best. We have ours in a kind of a playroom off our living room. Anyhow, bonus points if you don't have your Wi-Fi somewhere where it's constantly sending out signals to you while you're eating dinner or sleeping. So that's another big one. It just all adds up. Okay. This is another one of my favorites. So a famous line of Dr. Wentz's from the book is, "The real smell of clean is no smell at all." No smell. It is not supposed to smell like Linen Fresh or Mountain Spring or anything, okay? So I am actually not just talking about the laundry room here. But what I will tell you is he, makes a really good point that, again, a lot of these tips kind of feel like they should be intuitive. And it's just not until somebody says it out loud that, for me at least, that I read it and kind of went, oh, yeah, well, of course, that makes sense. But the truth is that most of the personal products, the cleaning products, the laundry room products, the stuff in our homes is not fragranced with natural fragrance, right? So if your laundry detergent says it smells like water lily, it's not actually water lily. It's guys in lab coats in a lab mixing chemicals and trying to come up with something that smells like water lily. Unfortunately. So this is a big one for me, especially, and like I said, especially perfume. But this goes beyond the laundry room is what I'm trying to say. So dryer sheets, I just put vinegar in my wash load. Some people use dryer balls. I have seen on Pinterest, again, kind of overwhelming, but you can make a little solution, put some cloth in it, throw a cloth in with your dryer load. But perfumes, personal products, everything smells like something. Candles, air fresheners. I can't tell you how often I go for a run outside around the lake here in Austin, Texas, and someone will run by me and I either smell A, their perfume and I want to choke, or B, their dryer sheets. That's how many they're putting in their dryer loads. I can smell it on their running clothes. Okay, it's not fresh scent. And the thing about, especially for stuff in the laundry room, some of the other stuff, candles, air fresheners, we're breathing it. But in the laundry room, when you're washing all your clothes with those, you are then putting those clothes on and wearing them all day. And all that stuff is sitting on your skin again. And it's just not necessary. So there are becoming more things in the market that are fragranced with essential oils. This is not necessarily caught on to mainstream marketing. So oftentimes, this is the one that's kind of easier to shop for. I can look at a product and read the ingredients, and I won't understand some of the rest of them, but one of the last ingredients will actually just say fragrance. So I do look for that. I do. And some things say, essential oil, fragrance, or whatever, what have you. But this is really, really big. And now I've probably gone, when did I read this? 2011, 4 or 5 years probably, I have gone without fake fragranced laundry detergent or dryer sheets or whatever. And now when someone uses them in my laundry room, I'm telling you, the whole house smells like it. I can smell it everywhere. It's so strong. In the air for forever. That's how it feels, at least. So anyhow, you kind of get accustomed to smell clean really being a clean smell or a natural fragrance smell. It's very different on the nose over time. Okay. Oh my gosh, we flew through all 10 of those. So, or at least it felt that way to me. I feel like I'm talking my head off, and I wish I could see you guys and see your questions. So I threw one last slide in there with some bonus point deluxe suggestions. This is, I started this webinar out just reminding myself and all of you that all of this is just about accumulation. And if all of those degenerative diseases that we all know someone struggling with, or that maybe we know someone who's passed away from, if all of those are preventable with lifestyle, more of this should be a more-brainer to more of us. And that might be the funeral director's daughter talking out of love to all of you. So there's that. So these are, again, free. These are probably not the easy changes, but I think they're more than worth it. So reducing your stress. Stress over time. The funny thing about stress, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on each of these, but I do want to say something about stress, because basically it's cortisol. The cortisol hormone in our body is our fight or flight response. And the thing is, none of us are actually day to day in fight or flight most of the time, unless we're, there's a car accident or something, but we're not in that space. We're not fleeing from our lives. We're not having to decide between getting eaten by a tiger or saving our child. But our body doesn't know that. Biologically, all the stress, all the thoughts we're thinking, all of what feels like life or death to us is causing our body to biologically react to that, and it's too much. It's too much. We are not supposed to constantly live in that state of fight or flight. And our stress levels and our lifestyles are, unfortunately, like I said, our biology doesn't know otherwise. And so that has huge impact on our health accumulatively, is all of our stress. Improving sleep is a big one. He talks about this a lot in The Healthy Home as well. Sleep is when our cells repair and when our body rejuvenates and fixes. And, a common suggestion is not to eat right before bed, because sleeping is not for digesting. It's the same kind of thing. And unfortunately, a lot of us aren't getting great sleep because even though we think we're tired, our bodies haven't really done anything. So I feel pretty strongly about movement being a part of, an active lifestyle being a part of everyone's healthcare plan over the long term. And I say movement because I absolutely mean movement. Okay. I'm a freak. I joke with my friends all the time. I'm kind of a freak. I really, really love a physical challenge. I run. I like to work out really hard. But it has nothing, moving has nothing, an active lifestyle has nothing to do with the gym. It doesn't have to, at least. And some people run, and some people swim, and some people bike, and some people walk, and some people dance, and some people work in their yard. But we have to move more if we want our bodies to actually rest well. It all kind of plays together. And then adopting a low glycemic diet is really, really important too. It kind of speaks to the reducing stress one. Unfortunately, the way our diet the culturally accepted diet that most of us are on, or what we eat, is creating stress in our bodies. So it's the same kind of thing. Biologically, our body doesn't know any different. It thinks it's the blood sugar stuff is, all of these chemical and hormonal things are happening in our body and causing our body to think that we're really stressed. It's causing inflammation, and all this stuff is going on inside that we can't see, and it's all accumulative. I just totally lost the words there, but it's all accumulative. We don't see the outcomes, or the what is that word? It's not circumstances, consequences. Thank you. The consequences until years down the road, because all of that stuff is accumulative over time. Our body does its best for as long as it can. So that is it. Let's see if I can get back to what we're doing and stop screen sharing. Hey, okay, so I can see that some of you are watching, but I can't see if there is a way for you to do Q&A. I apologize about that. I wanted you to be able to ask questions. It says that Q&A. I'll learn. We'll have Q&A next time. I want to thank you for being here. This was a lot of fun for me to put together. This is a conversation I love to have. It felt a little one-sided, but I thank you for taking 45 minutes of your evening to hear this. I think if you can even put 2 or 3 of those into practice tomorrow, it's for the good. It's for the good. So my wish for you is that your environment over time, you're able to make changes so that your home environment is really nourishing, and that 40 years of being in that space will support your health in a really awesome way. So look for I'm going to send out the recording of this in case you want to watch it again in an email. And I'm also going to look for the PDF downloads. So you'll get a buyer's guide and some hints, most of what we talked about tonight, some extra stuff, and it goes into just a touch more detail, and a link to buy the book if you want to know more. Otherwise, I hope those 10 easy steps to a healthier home helped you, and I thank you and I love you. Good night.